Hello students, welcome to Prep Veda. In this video, we will discuss about the Union and its territory. Note that Article 1, 2, 3 and Article 4 of the Constitution of India deal with the Union and its territory. Article 1 of the Constitution of India describes India, that is Bharat, is a union of states. Please note that the term called Union of States has been preferred rather than Federation of States for two reasons. Namely, the Indian Federation is not a result of the agreement amongst the various states. That is, India has not been formed after various states have been formed. Like in the case of America or the United States of America, it was first the states which were formed, and these states came together and formed the United States of America. But the reverse is true in case of India. Number two, the states in India have no right to secede from the Federation of India. This was also a question in one of the government examination. So that is the reason the Constitution of India under Article 1 mentions India, that is Bharat, as a union of states rather than Federation of States. Also, the first schedule of the Constitution of India lists the various states and their territories, and also the territorial extent of each state is mentioned in the first schedule of the Constitution. According to Article 1 of the Constitution, the territory of India can be classified into three categories. Number 1, the territories of the states. Number 2, the union territories specified in the first schedule. And number 3, the territories that may be acquired by the government of India at any time. So this is mentioning about such other territories which might be acquired in the future. So to put it simply, Article 1 of the Constitution deals with two things, namely the name of the country and also the type of polity of Indian state. Now let us try to understand Article 2 of the Constitution. It grants two major powers to the Parliament of India. That is, the power to admit into the Union of India new states and the power to establish new states. So try to understand this difference of admitting new states and to establish new states. The first refers to the admission of states which are already in existence, while the second term refers to the establishment of states which were not in existence before. So Article 2 of the Constitution gives both these powers to the Parliament. Article 3 of the Constitution mentions about how the procedure to admit and establishing new states by the Parliament can take place. Parliament can form a new state by separation of a territory from any state, or by uniting two or more states or parts of states, or by uniting any territory to any part of any state. Number 2, it can also increase the area of any state, it can diminish the area of any state, and the Parliament can alter the boundaries of any state as well as alter the name of any particular state. Okay? These changes can be introduced in the Parliament only with the prior recommendation of the President of India. This is the procedure to be followed. Also, the President has to refer the same to the state legislature. For instance, if the President is separating or increasing the area of any particular state, he has to refer to the state legislature regarding this matter, so that the state legislature can express its views within a specified time period. So the state legislature is given a specified time period within which they have to respond to the President. The power of the Parliament to form new states also includes the power to form a new state or union territory by uniting a part of any state or union territory or to any other state or union territory. Having said that, please note that the President or the Parliament is not bound by the advice of the state legislature. The President is referring the matter to the state legislature only to seek its opinion, but the opinions expressed by the state legislature are not binding on the President or the Parliament. The President or the Parliament is free to take their own decision regarding the formation or separation of a new state. The Constitution authorizes the Parliament to form new states or alter the areas, boundaries, or names of existing states even without their consent. And that is why India is rightly described as an indestructible union of destructible states. Now let us discuss about Article 4 of the Constitution. It declares that any law made for admission or establishment of new states, namely under Article 2 of the Constitution, and for formation of new states and alteration of areas, boundaries, or names of existing states under Article 3 of the Constitution are not to be considered as amendments of the Constitution under Article 368. To put it in simple terms, Article 4 provides that any law referred to in Article 2 and Article 3 of the Constitution, which contains provisions for amendment of Schedule 1 and Schedule 4 of the Constitution, would be done without going through the procedure as prescribed by Article 368 of the Constitution. It means that such laws under Article 2 and 3 can be passed by a simple majority and by an ordinary legislative process. Thus, they are not considered as constitutional amendment acts. Now, let us try to understand the chronology of reorganization of states in India. At the time of independence, India was divided into British Indian provinces and Indian princely states. Of the 552 princely states situated within the geographical boundaries of India, 549 had joined India, and the remaining 3 states, namely Hyderabad, Junagadh, and Kashmir, joined India later. Thus, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, the erstwhile Home Minister in the National Provisional Government, and Mr. V.K. Menon, who was the then Home Secretary, through their persuasive and punitive measures, integrated a large number of states within the Indian Union. So, after independence, the Dhar Commission under Justice S.K. Dhar was appointed in the year 1948 by the Government of India to look into the question of linguistic reorganization of states in India. The S.K. Dhar Commission submitted its report in December 1948 and rejected the idea of linguistic reorganization of states. It recommended the reorganization of states on the basis of administrative convenience rather than on linguistic factor. However, the problem persisted, and thus the Jvp Committee was appointed. In December 1948, the Jvp Commission, namely Jawaharlal Nehru, Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, and Pattabi Sitaramaiah, were the members of this commission, and it was popularly known as the Jvp Commission. It was appointed to look into the question of the state's reorganization on the basis of languages. However, the commission submitted its report in April 1949 and formally rejected the idea of linguistic reorganization of states. But in the year 1953, the first linguistic state, namely Andhra state, was created by separating the Telugu-speaking areas from the Madras state. So, by now it is clear that S.K. Dhar Commission and Jvp Committee were against the idea of linguistic reorganization of states. But due to the growing demands from various states, again in the year 1953, a Fazal Ali Commission was created. So this commission was chaired by Fazal Ali, and the other members were K.M. Panikkar and H.N. Kunjru. The Fazal Ali Commission submitted its report in September 1955, wherein it recommended the formation of 16 states and 3 centrally administered areas for the Indian Union. Broadly speaking, it accepted language as a basis for reorganization of states. However, it rejected the idea of one language and one state. Thus, the Commission suggested that states can be reorganized on linguistic basis, but administrative convenience should also be kept in mind while doing so. The Commission also suggested the abolition of fourfold classification of states and union territories which were existent before, and thus recommended the formation of 16 states and 3 centrally administered areas for the Indian Union. Thus, based on the recommendations of Fazal Ali Commission, the State Reorganization Act of 1956 was promulgated, which provided for setting up of 14 states and 6 union territories. Though the commissions recommended 3 union territories, the State Reorganization Act or Src Act of 1956 created 6 union territories. Also, as we already discussed, in the year 1953, Andhra Pradesh was created by taking the Telugu language speaking region of Madras, Bombay, and central provinces and thus forming a linguistic state for the first time in India, namely the Andhra state, in the year 1953. So, in this newspaper article, you can see that a new chapter opens in the history of Andhras. Later, in the year 1954, Pondicherry was handed over by the French to India, and thus it was included in the Indian Union as a union territory. So, in this image, you can see that the Src Act of 1956 came into effect on November 1st. It can be said that it is the single most extensive change in the state boundaries since India's independence. It changed the boundaries of India's states, organizing them on linguistic lines. Andhra Pradesh, Kerala, and Madhya Pradesh were formed with the effect of Src of 1956. Also, Himachal Pradesh, Andaman and Nicobar Islands, Delhi, Lakadivi, Minicoy, and Amindivi Islands, Manipur, and Tripura were the union territories which were created. In this pictograph, you can see the change in India's map from 1947 to 1960. In 1947, at the time of freedom or Indian independence, the Hyderabad Nizam and Kashmir Maharaja wanted to stay independent. However, Baroda acceded in the year 1949. Also, Hyderabad and Kashmir were later acceded to India. In the year 1953, Andhra was the first to be created on the lines of language and was created from Telugu-speaking parts of Madras and Maharashtra. In the year 1960, after a bitter struggle, Maharashtra and Gujarat were formed by dividing Bombay state, taking the count to 16 states. In this image, we can see the debates between the national leaders on this issue. Let us see the opinion of Mahatma Gandhi. Linguistic provinces will give a fillip to regional languages. It would be absurd to make Hindustani the medium of instruction in all regions and still more absurd to use English. Let us see the viewpoint of Jawaharlal Nehru. He says that linguistic provinces are the limbs of the whole body of India and not independent units. If each limb functions as it likes, there is bound to be chaos. The combined strength of the provinces is the strength of India. Now let us see the view of Dr. B.R. Ambedkar. In a linguistic state, what would remain for the smaller communities to look to? Can they hope to be elected to the legislature? Can they hope to maintain a place in the state service? Is what he questioned. Then let us look at the view of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. Provincialism has deflected the attention to linguistic division of India and constituted a great danger to the national integration and consolidation, is the viewpoint of Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel. So now let us try to understand which are the following states which were created after 1956. The demand for the state of Gujarat out of Bombay province was raised in the decade of the 60s. This resulted in the bifurcation of Bombay province and the state of Maharashtra and Gujarat in the year 1961. On December 11, 1961, Goa was freed from Portuguese occupation through an army operation and was made a state in the year 1987 by the 56th Constitutional Amendment. In the year 1962, the state of Nagaland was created. In the Hindi-speaking areas of Punjab, demand was raised for the setting up of a Hindi-speaking state out of Punjab. It resulted in the division of state of Punjab into Punjabi-speaking area of Punjab and the Hindi-speaking area of the state of Haryana and setting up Chandigarh as a union territory in the year 1966 by the 18th Constitutional Amendment Act as a common capital for Punjab and Haryana. In the year 1975, Sikkim was made an associate state by the 35th Constitutional Amendment, which later on, by the 36th Constitutional Amendment Act of 1975, was made a full-fledged state. Later, Mizoram was made a state of the Union of India in the year 1986 by the 53rd Constitutional Amendment. In the year 1987, the state of Arunachal Pradesh was added by the 55th Constitutional Amendment. In the year 2000, the state of Jharkhand was made out of Bihar. So in this map, you can see 3 new states which were created in the year 2000. Okay. Note that the eastern region of Madhya Pradesh was popularly known as Chhattisgarh. Thus, due to people's struggle, finally in the year 2000, Madhya Pradesh was bifurcated and the state of Chhattisgarh was formed in the year 2000. Also, in the hilly area of erstwhile state of Uttar Pradesh, Uttaranchal was formed in the year 2000. On 11th October 2006, the name of the state was changed to Uttarakhand. Okay? In February 2014, the Andhra Pradesh State Reorganization Act 2014 bill was passed by the Parliament of India for the formation of state of Telangana, comprising 10 districts from northwestern erstwhile Andhra Pradesh. The bill received the assent of the President and published the Gazette on 1st of March 2014. So in this map you can see how Telangana was created from Andhra Pradesh. So that was in brief about the union and its territories as part of constitution and Indian polity. If you liked our lecture, do subscribe to our YouTube channel and also download our mobile app, namely Prep Veda. Thank you.